Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we're going to continue still on our law of thoughts. We are moving to defamation. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to discuss the element of defamation, and you should also able to apply the defenses available for the tortious action. Okay, so first of all, what is defamation? But before that, we look into the provisions of the Act. Okay, what are the legislation? Law of defamation is based on the English Defamation Act. Okay, and we follow their principles. We modified it, and it became our Defamation Act 1957. So basically, our act is in pari materia with English Defamation Act. So under the Defamation Act, what is protected is the person's good name and reputation. Okay, mere feeling of hurts are insufficient to be awarded damages under defamation. Okay, so how many types of defamation? There are two types. Yeah? First one is libel and second one is slander. So what is the difference between the two? When we talk about slander, it is a written defamation. When we talk about slander, it's a spoken or gesture. And when it's a libel, it's in a permanent form compared to slander, which is not lasting. Yeah, and libel is actionable per se. Meaning you don't need to prove special damages, okay? Compared to slander, you need to prove special damages. We are going to look into one by one. What is libel? Libel is a defamation in a permanent form, visible to the eye, such as written form or pictures, statute or effigies, yeah? And then Section 3 of our Defamation Act 1957 states that broadcasting of words by means of radio communication shall be treated as a publication in a permanent form and constitute libel. So basically, libel is a permanent actionable per se. Plaintiff need not prove any damages. Okay, for example, the law presumes that when a person's reputation is assailed, some damage must result. For example, bank commits tort of defamation if he wrongly print the words account closed on a check that is in fact bound to honor. Okay, that is a basic introduction on libel. Okay, the other type of defamation is slander, which is in temporary form, spoken or words or gesture. It is it's not actionable per se. So basically, plaintiff needs to prove actual or special damages in order to succeed in his action. So basically, what is actual damages? Actual damages refers to financial loss or any loss that may be measured in monetary terms. Yeah? For example, loss of business or employment or chance to attend social function that may be measured in monetary terms. Okay, so basically, actual loss must be proven, and damage must also be the natural and reasonably foreseeable as a result of the defendant's work. Okay, damage must further be a direct result of defendant's works. Now, when we talk about slander, there are also exceptions to this requirement of proving actual damages. There are 5 situations whereby you don't need to prove actual damages. Those 5 situations are slander to women, slander to a person's professional or business reputation, imputation of a crime, imputation of a contagious disease, and slander to title. So these 5 slander, you don't need to prove actual damages. Okay, what is slander to women? Okay, now Section 4 provides that Publication of words which impute unchastity or adultery to any woman or girl requires no proof of actual damages. Let us look at case Luk Kai Lam and Sim Ai Leng. This is the case where the respondent called the appellant a prostitute and alleged that she charged 50 ringgit to entertain men at any one time. So these allegations were made in the presence of a third party. So the court held that slander was established since the words impugn the appellant's chastity and special damages need not be proved. Okay, so this is slander to women. Next one, slander to a person's professional or business reputation. You don't need to prove special damage. Okay. This is governed by Section 5, which provides that where the words are calculated to disparage the plaintiff in any office, profession, calling, trade or business, at the time of the publication, it shall not necessary for the plaintiff to prove special damage. Okay. The case that you can refer to is the JB Jaya Ratnam. Okay. I suggest you read the case. It's very direct. And then the next type where you don't need to prove special damage is imputation of a crime. Okay. This is where the defendant mentioned that plaintiff involved in a crime which attracts corporal punishment. Okay, that includes death penalty, whipping and imprisonment. So crime which actually attracts corporal punishment. So you don't need to prove special damages. The cases, one of the example is case Siva Raden, where the plaintiff was called a cheat, dishonest and liar. So you don't need to prove special damages. The plaintiff doesn't need to prove. The next exception is imputation of a contagious disease. You also doesn't need to prove special damages. And the last one is slander to title. This is governed by Section 6, Subsection 1, Paragraph B of the Defamation Act 1957. Okay. Now, what are the elements for defamation? We have seen elements for negligence. We have seen elements for assault. We have seen elements for battery. And we have also seen elements for false imprisonment. Okay. Same like all other law of torts, defamation need to be proven. So how to prove? You need to prove the three elements. First one, the words are defamatory. What does it mean by the words are defamatory? Okay, we're going to look later. And the next one, the words must refer to the plaintiff. And last one, the words must be published. Now, we are going to look into words are defamatory. Now, when we talk about words are defamatory, it means the words have a tendency to lower the estimation of the plaintiff in the minds of a right-thinking members of society. Okay? Now, with those words, the plaintiff is exposed to hatred. Many people doesn't like him. People will avoid him. Okay? Or people will shun and even ridicule him. Okay, that is a question for the court to consider now, whether those words are capable of conveying defamatory meaning concerning the plaintiff. So basically, when the plaintiff brought this matter to the court will look into the tendency of the response by a reasonable man to the words. Would a reasonable man react to the same thing? Now, if the words are mere words of abuse, uttered in anger, in the heat of the moment, there are possibility that the words will not be defamatory. Okay? but it will be defamatory if the words have a tendency to lower estimation of the plaintiff in the minds of the right-thinking members of the society. Now, we need to consider further how does the words are defamatory. It can be defamatory in three ways. First one, in its natural and ordinary meaning. Second one, by way of innuendo. Okay, when we talk about innuendo, it can be false innuendo, and it can also be true or legal innuendo, or by juxtaposition. Okay, we're going to look into these words are defamatory in its meaning. Okay, the first one, words are defamatory in natural and ordinary meaning. The words itself actually understood by ordinary men of ordinary intelligence to have a tendency to make them shun or avoid the plaintiff. Now, look at this case, Louis and Daily Telegraph. The newspaper printed the news that a fraud squad was investigating the plaintiff company. Surely, anybody would read the news, they think that the plaintiff involved in a fraudulent action. Okay. Now, court held that the statement was not defamatory, as it was not capable to have a meaning that the plaintiff carried out his business fraudulently. Why? Why did the court held something like that? Because although it was just a news printed that the squad was investigating, the words itself does not mean that plaintiff carried out his business fraudulently. Okay. Next one. Next case. Ayub and Saud and T.S. Sambantanamurthy. Plaintiff, a land surveyor who had valued the defendant's land, received a copy of letters sent by defendant to the third party, which stated inter alia, "I'm surprised that a Chinese surveyor had charged 1,450 ringgit, whereas a Bumiputra asked 14,480 ringgit, which is a daylight robbery." Now, the court held that the words used are of general abuse, meaning they are talking about survey in general. When they talk about robbery, it is very natural and ordinary meaning. Okay, but then the court says that they do not have the tendency to reasonable men to avoid the plaintiff. Therefore, the words are not defamatory. Now, compared to this, Louis and Daily Telegraph, same thing. It does not make the people avoid or shun the plaintiff. So that's why they are not defamatory.